right, I know some of you long-time listeners and viewers of this channel might be like, what's going on? Everything looks different. Well, had some tech issues recently in logistics and application, and it kind of ran into some problems trying to get stuff out on time and keep up with multiple teams and fan bases. And the one thing I hate to do is let people down, especially people that are as good to me as the viewers like you guys are out there. Some of you might be watching this for the first time. This might not, you might even care about this stuff. I got chapters, and you'll see preview, which is my thesis. You can click to right to that. But for those who watch for a while, care about this little stuff, I'll give you a little inside baseball. Essentially, when I do the other style shows, looks great, but I gotta record it, upload it, which takes a while. Tech geniuses, they've got to then download it. They do their thing, and then they send it back, and I got to proof it, and then I got to upload it. And if there's any issues, we have to do the whole thing over again, and it becomes a logistical nightmare. And it's been a problem for a while, but one of the viewers, Coach Tim, he's a great guy, really, really, really great guy, Titans fan, and he asked me to get this podcast out to cover the Bills and the Titans. And it just turned into a nightmare, and it was like the final straw that broke the camel's back. So I'm still going to do the other style, but when I need to get stuff up right away after a game or just maybe once in a while I want to use this format, I'm going to use this format as well. Now, right into the podcast after the preamble. Titans versus the Bills was one of my favorite games last year. Watching two good coaches, two tough teams, talented teams, scrap it out with all different kinds of problems that arose through the game, and then to have it all boiled down to a last drive for the whole enchilada was amazing. It was one of my favorite games of the year. And, you know, I'm a Dolphins fan, see behind me over there, but the Bills I really like as an organization. I like McDermott, I like the whole framework. But honestly, I wouldn't be as crazy about him if it wasn't for Allen. I liked Allen before he was drafted. The guy's got class, he's got intelligence, and he's got all-world talent. He's a Superman. And I respect the Bills for those things, and I enjoy covering them for those things, as well as the great viewers that show up here and even to this Finn fan have a lot of class and are really decent and good people. And then the Titans, for me, they play my way, the old school way. You know, they don't have the greatest quarterback. I mean, Tannehill's a little underrated in my book. You know, he can be a little erratic. He can sometimes, you know, make a bad decision in a critical moment, but he's got good movement skills. He's got a really good arm. It's a little underrated arm, and he has really good accuracy and ball location for like the vast amount of the time, and he's a gunslinger. He really challenges the cornerbacks, the defensive backs, the defenders, and to really fit it in some tight windows, and he has a lot of trust for his receivers, but he's not the level of Allen. So this team's got to survive with Vrabel, with a great coach, who's a great coach. And then they got to survive with the run game, which I love. Back in the day when I did my little thing, that was me. I was a running back. That's all I ever wanted to do. I actually wanted to become a running back and make it to the Dolphins to give Dan Marino a run game. The running back is my heart. And in that process is why I love the offensive line even more, because I understand the absolute value of the offensive line, how critical it is. And so for me, offensive line right now is first, with the running back close second. I think a lot of it's because some of the great talent that I grew up with is really not there. So the offensive line is my favorite, but the running back is my second favorite. And so that's why I like the Titans, along with a stout defense. And they got to make it all happen without Superman. So both these teams I really like, and I have, I guess, a ogler's look, a voyeur's. I guess with the Bills, it's more about amazement with Allen. And with the Titans, it's more respect for getting it done without that awesome talent. So those two battling each other was great, and I was looking forward to this battle this season. Unfortunately, it wasn't going the way I expected. Bills came out and roasted the Rams at home. Titans came out and laid an egg to the Gents, and it really wasn't looking so hot. And then Tommy from Mafia Sports Report, we were doing a show together, and he's like, this is going to be a blowout. I'm like, this is going to be a great game, Tommy. He's like, this is going to be a blowout, 38-13, 38-16. And so this game really was, I had high hopes, and I kind of felt like Tommy was the last guy to pee in my cereal and let me down. But I did a lot of studying on this game, trying to understand the game, try to see something. And I don't know if I convinced myself into what I'm going to say here, or as I pursued the information and I considered the matchups and all things involved, I saw something that was real. And now I'm really high after my Dolphins' insane win, but I'm not that high to think the Titans are going to go into Buffalo and beat the Bills. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, but I am saying I do feel this could be a good game, a challenging game, and you always got to give everybody a chance. I mean, who would have thought the Dolphins down or a 14-35 would have come back and take the win? And not, yeah, I mean, so football, anything can happen, but odds are Bills will win. But I'm thinking it's going to be a good game, and Titans are going to show themselves, represent themselves in a very good way. Now, before I get into all that stuff, I do want to do my usual shout out to you guys for coming by here. Got the new look, trying to figure it out. It's like wearing a new pair of underwear. It's a little uncomfortable, so bear with me as I get through this. But I want to give you guys a shout out for the likes and subscribes and stopping by. It really means the world to me. But I also want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without you guys and without them, this show isn't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I got 4 major areas of matchups. I'm going to kind of dig into them, some information that came out, some things I thought. So maybe fans of both sides can pay attention to that when the game goes down. And maybe they'll find the information itself interesting. And maybe I'll end up being smart and some of it will come true. I don't know. We'll find out. But the first thing I want to talk about is the non-matchup. There is no matchup between Allen and Tannehill. And it's not because Tannehill sucks, he's garbage. It's because Allen is that good. Allen is going to do his thing. He's got the super arm. He's got the ability to get mobile, run like a fullback. This guy is all world, and he's quickly rising to one of the best in the game and maybe starting to get into that, I don't know, position where he could start vying for one of the best ever. Tannehill, quality guy, good guy. As I said before, lots of skill sets. A lot of teams would love to have him. But Tannehill is going to be half the production of Allen. That's the expectation. So the real battle, the matchup is Tannehill and Derrick Henry together against Allen. And the run game for the Titans is so critical, as it's obvious. Now, last week, Henry had a decent game. I forgot what it was. It was 89 yards, 3.9 yards a carry. Can't remember exact amount of carries. That's a good day for a lot of backs, not Henry. It's obvious he needs to have a big day, 120, 130, high rushing average. And on the face of it, you'd say, oh, the Bills, man, they could stop the run, especially this year, after bringing all that defensive tackle talent, all that offensive line talent. And this is not going to be a fair matchup, something that is going to be, materialized. But injuries from the last game and the injury report opens the door. With Oliver out and Tim Settle, a big Tim Settle out, this leaves Phillips and Daquan Jones on their own. Now, these guys are really good. I mean, they're good players. But I know Phillips, he was a Dolphin, and he's a giant of a man who has a tendency to get gassed if you run him too high up in the snap count. Now, he's going to have to play a lot because there's not much quality depth after those two guys. So they're going to be in there having to man a position. Now, behind them is some good linebackers, and you know that. But linebackers, they don't want to deal with offensive linemen all day. Even the best linebackers, it hurts their ability. Now, Milano's good. Edmonds is good. But if without Oliver and Settle, there's an opportunity for this Titans offensive line that, they're really rebounding for letting go of Saffold and Quisenberry. They did some good things. There's some issues. We'll get into that. But if the defense can keep Allen in check for a little while and Titans can get on some run game action and start wearing down those DTs and get to those linebackers, Henry is the guy. He's a stud. He's one of the best running backs of the last 20 years. And if he gets himself going and he gets that opportunity and get to the second level, he can run people over, run past them. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but without Oliver and Settle, it does open up the possibility. Now, the edges of the Bills is not going to, you got Rousseau on this side, and you got Vaughn on the other side, and then you got Shaq Lawson and AJ Espinosa and Boogie Bashan. Those edges are going to be manned pretty well, and I don't see the Titans be able to get too much on those exteriors. But that inside, that A and B gap does look like it can be had as the game progresses. Early on, I don't see so much, but the wear factor can play it out. Now, for the negative side, for the Titans, Hilliard, he's a good backup, not as good a runner as he is a pass catcher. His value is in the pass catching. He's not playing, and that is also going to limit not just the running game aspect as a backup for Henry, but the running back position as a totality, because Henry is not the same kind of receiving back that Hilliard is. Now, the next might not be where you think, but I do believe that the Titans' run defense is another critical area. Now, last week they got beat by the Gents, but they really dominated the game. It was the run defense, especially the exterior, the edges, that had the Titans losing that game. They had 230 yards on the ground, rushed on them, and it was led by Saquon Barkley with 164 and a 9.1 yards per carry. You take that out of the game, and it was going to be a win for the Titans. They're not a high-scoring team. They're a team that's got to stop the other team's run to help out their pass defense, run the ball themselves, and get that 20-17, 24, 21 type style victory. That's the format for them. And so when the Giants were able to run the way they did, it really doomed the Titans. But if you took that out of the picture, the Titans had the win and might not look as desperate as they appeared to many. Now, you could say, well, of course, but the Titans are a notably good run-stopping team. And you have to see, is this the new Titans that are just not able to stop the run, or was this an anomaly? And I think, I tend to believe it's an anomaly. Vrabel is one of my favorite coaches. This defense is hard-nosed, tough, and I don't see them doing that level again. And then you have to factor in, will the Bills actually attack those edges? Now, last week against the Rams, you saw this spread-wide power formation running game, pitching it outside mostly, attacking the edges. Allen's great for that. Singletary's great for that. But Moss, not so much. I think they're going to have to attack the edges because inside, it's not going to be pretty. You got Simmons, you got Tart, you got a bunch of guys in there that are animals, or just beasts. Simmons is a monster. And I'm going to get to him later. Attacking the Bills' offensive line is going to be a focus. So those edges, especially Fulton, the second round, picked a cornerback. He had a tough game in pass coverage. But he was a real good run defender. He's going to be out. So these edges in the run is going to be wide open. Are they going to attack it with Allen, or are they going to attack it with Singletary? I don't know, but I think if I was a Bills offensive coordinator, I would definitely test that Titans edge early. And if the Titans stand, this is a good sign for them to make this a tough game. Now, Titans on the edge, they got Bud Dupree, Weaver, Denny, I don't even know who he is. Weaver's no good. Bud Dupree is terrible. I don't know what happened. He fell off a cliff. So their edges are really weak. Linebackers, Cunningham and Long, I'm not so crazy about them in the run stop, but they are good pass coverers. And, this could be part of Harold Landry's injury being out. He's not the greatest run stopper, but that's a piece that it could be part of the puzzle of why this edges is not where it needs to be. Now, we'll see how it plays out. See, the cornerback's going to come up big. Bayard's going to come up big. The safety's going to come up big. You got Kalu, the safety. We'll see how he plays. Safety's going to have to help with those edges, and that's where I kind of think the Bills should attack. Now, obviously, they're going to pass the football. I understand that. But you can't disrespect a talented team by just trying to be one-dimensional. I think that's an area where the Bills need to grow, and they have a tendency to do that last year. And I think the more balanced they become, the more deadly and dangerous they become. They're already amazing, but that's going to be the dagger in the heart of the rest of the league when they can do run and pass, and to run without Allen all the time and be nearly effective in both. Forget about it. Allen is off to a Super Bowl and probably moonwalking into his first ring. But I think that run balance is going to be key. Now, the Bills' pass is always going to be the heart of this team. I've talked a lot about, being a balanced offense. And what I mean by that is getting the ball out of Allen's hand on the ground. Passing should be the same. But the more he runs the football, I have conversations with Bill fans all the time. They're like, let Allen be Allen. This is who he is. And I get that. Understand. But he's the leader of this team. And it's not just about his game and what he does and what he feels. It's about everybody else. The entire franchise is riding him. And so he's got, like a father of a family or a mother of a family, more to worry about than himself. Good leaders put the rest of the unit ahead of themselves. And while it is who he is, just like throwing passes into tight windows, he's got to be judicious with his body because he is the franchise. He is now, and he is the future. So anyway, but the passing offense obviously is going to be a thing with the Bills, clearly. But Davis got a balky ankle, and this guy's an animal when you pair him up with Diggs. What's that ankle going to be doing? It's question mark. He's questionable going into the game. He was limited on Friday. He's going to play, but how much tread on that ankle does he have before he starts limping and slows down? Is he already slowing down? That's going to be the key, because if you take Davis out of the picture, this really moves a big swing towards the Titans to help them out. Now, they got Isaiah McKenzie, they got Crowder, they got Shakir, they got Knox. They got a lot of guys to help out. But you can't take a guy like Davis, limit him, and not feel the blow, whether he's on the sideline or he's playing lesser snaps or he's not able to run and cut as fast. And the Titans are going to need help. There's no way about it. The Titans will need help. But, while Fulton, the second-round pick, went down, and on paper that looks bad, he didn't cover well. They got Amadi, McCreary. They got Bayard in the background. As I said, Cunningham and Long, really good covering linebackers. And Farley is working his way into things. He's like subpar right now, but he's still like really a rookie considering how he was injured last year. So it'll be interesting to see how he grows from week 1, week 2. But this team is a lot more stacked with talent and ability and bodies in the secondary than they were last year. So, I wouldn't count them out just yet. And then, the Bills' D-line is the story to me. I mean, when you look at the Rams game, the most shocking thing wasn't that Allen was doing all the things he was doing. When we saw the playoff game was insane. We saw before that, leading all up this, we understood that. But bringing Von Miller in, and then bringing in that depth behind it with Phillips and Settle and I think it's Daquan, a bunch of guys you brought in there. Lawson, who didn't play last week, but now you got him as a backup because you can fill the role. You just got so much depth being led by a Hall of Famer, an impact guy that can speed rush, bull rush, stop the run, and he changed everything. And what they did to the Rams was like almost cruel and unusual punishment. But the reality is the Titans' offensive line has moved Saffold and Quisenberry out the door, and they went to the Bills, which is ironic. And so all that offensive line talent went to the Bills. But what's really not being talked about so much is the very good draft the Titans appear to have at this stage, and some of that does include the offensive line. So I just want to give them a tip of the hat for their excellent draft and remind people they have great drafts, bad drafts, great drafts, bad drafts. And they got 2 drafts in the background where those players haven't been decided. They're still in the growing process. There is like a ton, 10, 11 players, maybe more than that are young guys that haven't established who they exactly are. And if half them actually rise up and show themselves to be players, this Titans team is going to shock as the season progresses. Will it be this week? We'll see. But you look at, they got rid of Brown. He went to Philly. But Trey Burks, 3 for 55 last week. Phillips, the 5th round pick, another wide receiver, 6 for 66. Now, you got that 1st round pick, and you got that 6th round pick. They're coming together, 5th round pick, they're coming together, and that's almost what you're getting from Brown. Very, very good draft. And then you add in, on the offensive line, they got, what's his name? Petit Freer, the 3rd round pick, and he's filling in for Quisenberry. And he had a reasonably good game. Little struggles on the edge as far as offensive line pass blocking, but was great in the run game, which obviously is great for the Titans. He was a 3rd round pick, and he's coming through for them as well. And then you add in a tight end. They picked up, what's his name? Okonkwo. I don't know. I'm trying to figure his name out. But I watched him, and he came in for about 10 snaps, and he showed something. This Titans team depends on tight ends, blocking and catching. And you got Swain, Okonkwo, and Hooper. And, you know, Hooper had a bad game, but he was reasonably pretty good in years past. So these guys are going to help with the edges where the Bills are so potent. And the lack of Oliver and the lack of Settle is going to put some pressure on that interior. And really, it's the interior where I'm most concerned with the Titans. Nate Davis is unbelievable. This guy is in the Onwenu level of being great. I mean, this guy is special inside. You got Ben Jones, a center, that had a poor game last week, but he's a pretty good center. Freer I talked about, and obviously Taylor Lewan, long and tooth guy, not as good as he used to be, but still good. So those edges I feel reasonably secure with, considering you got some pretty good tight ends to help that out. And you're going to do a lot of running. So that's going to slow those edges just a little bit because they can't just attack with daggers because then I run past the run. But I did a podcast for the Titans in the offseason, and I said to me, when I go over the roster, the biggest difference between 2021 and 2022 is left guard. Saffold, superstar. I want to say superstar, but really, really good. One of the best in the league and an absolute monster. He got pulled out, went to the Bills, and then you got Aaron Brewer coming in at left guard. And he's a really interesting player. He's 6'1". He's listed at 274, 280, 285 different places. But however you slice it, even if you get to 290, that is small, both in height and weight. And the odd thing is, I was watching him play. He ran blocked much better than he pass blocked. And so that hole in the pass blocking at left guard really puts, say, like Phillips in front of him, Daquan, or some kind of stunts, or linebacker blitzes. And that left guard spot is going to be a major deal for me. How will that left guard, Aaron Brewer, with, you know, a smaller guy. I mean, 274 is not small, but in this league it is when you're going against monsters at the 300 range and linebackers that are almost as big as you. How will he respond? If he can stand up, this rest of the offensive line has the tools to give this defensive front some slowdown, some fits. And again, as I said, it goes back to my original point, the run game. Wear those D tackles out. Can't open the gut of the defense, get to those linebackers, and make this a prolonged game, and it could get interesting. Again, when it comes down to the clutch, Allen at home is going to probably have the juice, even if it does stay close. And my friend Tommy is not Nostradamus. It's still going to come down to Allen making that big play, and I don't think they can stop him. But at least this could be an interesting game, and for Titans fans, it could put them on the edge of a shocker. So anyway, this is my take. This is my little podcast. I hope you understand the changes over here. Going to work on fixing it up a little bit more. Still have the old style, but this is a way to cover more teams, get stuff out in a very specific manner, and get it out fast along with the other style. I say this, I really mean this. To me, some of you guys have heard us say this like shtick before, but it's not real shtick. I really believe it. I mean, I'm an artist. I draw, I write, I love art of every kind. I played many sports. I fought. I believe football is an art form, and every football player and every coach is an artist. And you have to, I mean, nobody goes to the Louvre and starts battling over whether Da Vinci is better than Michelangelo, and they start getting into fistfights because you can only like one and you can't like the other. Nobody does that with other art forms. This is a true art form. There's certain teams I hate, like the Patriots and San Fran. Broke my heart with Marino, but I still don't really hate them, but sometimes it's hard to be objective. But the Bills, even though with the PTSD from the 90s, that's a team that any fan of any team should be like, I hope my franchise can get there. I wished I had a quarterback like this guy. I wished I could have a fan base that is so supportive and a team that respects the fan base. Like, this is something that I want for myself. Now, there's other teams out there that have that. They have that. But that is the way you go about your business. And the same thing is with the Titans. These are two amazing coaches, well-coached teams, well-run organizations, and they are the A class of the NFL, and it's a privilege to see them go head-to-head, and this is why I really hope it is a true fight and a true battle. Anyway, this is Curtis saying thanks for staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time. Have a great game, Monday night game, both fan bases. I will. Catch you next time. Be well. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.